Welcome, everybody. So excited to welcome everyone to our fourth season of ICF Academy. Simone, you can put up the slides when you're ready. We have a whirlwind of presentations today, a wackadoodle idea that can only come from the ICF Academy. Why don't we just grab as many speakers from the ICC Congress and cram them into an hour and a half type of presentation? That's what we have in store for you. So we have up to, how many speakers? We have
10 people.
10 speakers. We have a whole bunch of sessions, 22 topics in 4 different categories. And I also want to send a little special hello to Carolina, our host in Spain, in Tarragona. Thank you so much, Carolina, for being here. The Congress was amazing. And this is a little tip of the hat to you. So before we get into any more details, I'd love to present a little video from a taste of Spain. Yay! So wonderful. I feel all like I'm back at Tarragona right now. So before we get into it, here's a little bit of housekeeping. We ask that you please keep your mics muted so we can hear our brilliant speakers. Put your view on speaker view so you can see the main person that is speaking. We will be chatting mostly in English today. But in the Zoom chat, please feel free to chat in your own language. We do have, I want to do a special shout out to Luciana, new member to our team, and she'll be chatting with you in Spanish, and Gwen will be chatting with you in English. There's no formal breaks today, so please take care of yourself. We are going to be here for about 90 minutes, give or take, very ICF Academy styles. So please make sure that you're getting something to drink and doing what you need to do. And this will be recorded for those that can't make it. So if you don't want to be seen, please turn off your recording. So what are we getting into today? Well, we have 4 different content areas: camp and people, business, programs, and education. And in between each of those categories, we're going to have a little bit of a reflection on what we just learned and a little activity that we're going to get to do. And within all those categories, we have speakers that are presenting a little snapshot of what they presented at ICC this year. a little disclaimer, and sorry, graphic designers, but we had to take many pictures of individual slides and try to cram them all together. So you're going to have a very eclectic visual experience today. And let us know what you think. We're excited just to get as much of this information for you. And I'm told that this is a cutting edge way of presenting information. So I'm very excited about that. And if you did not attend ICC, we have a gift for you. You're going to have access to the full presentations. So when a speaker is presenting and you see the slide, that whole slide deck will be available with you, and you'll have an opportunity to connect with the speakers. We're going to chat about that at the very end of our workshop today. So if there are some speakers or there's some sessions that you're really interested in and you want to know more, take note so that you'll be able to reach out to them and get that information. It is so exciting. And then lastly, ways that we'll invite you to connect today. We have breakout rooms. We have a Menti where we're going to connect some ideas, the ICF chat channel, something that's new this year, and as well as the ICC app, which we're still continuing right now. There's a bunch of goodies in there that you don't want to miss out. So without further ado, we are going to be starting with camp and people. And that's everything from your volunteers, your families, your campers, your staff. And who I'd like to invite onto the stage is my good friend, Oscar.
All right, so everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hello, good morning, everyone. How are you? Okay, it's so good to see you again. This is amazing, you know, to restart everything about Spain. I am so glad. So thank you so much. What I try to speak today is about my presentation at the ICC, and I think it's very important for us at the camp business to understand that we have this beautiful and amazing like medicine for this situation. Now we are living with the campers all around the world. We know exactly what's happening. Our kids are not the same, and we need to work with them and to take them to the next level, because maybe they have some emotional issues or psychological issues that I think, and I am so sure that camp is part of the solution, a very important part of the solution, because we are involved in nature. And what I talked about in Spain was exactly that we need to understand as camp organizers that in time of being part of camp business, we need to work with kids in like these four areas we're seeing here in the slide. So what I'm proposing to all of us is we need to think in our programs and start thinking about just fun or just playing football or playing soccer or playing tennis, because we have what we need to help the kids. So these are the four main ideas I want to transmit to everyone about what we can do at camp. We need to create activities that bring real connection to nature, because nature is connecting kids behind the screen, and that's not good. We need to create spaces so we can grow in interiorizing about ecological consciousness. We need to create moments that make campers to be in love with nature all the time. And we need to take them to understand as part of the ecological part they are living. So it's important for us to understand this area and start working new programs with new areas of working together with kids in nature. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Oscar. And I'm gonna do a little recap at the end of this group. So I'll comment on some of these things. Really appreciate it. Jeff Bradshaw is joining us on stage, and after Jeff, we have David. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Really quickly, I had great pleasure of speaking about staffing in Spain. And what I did was I drew on some research that was done in the United States over 30 years ago. On the left side, you'll see the top reasons why staff come back to camp. 3 of them were identified overwhelmingly, no matter if it was a day, an overnight setting, or whether or not it was a big camp, a small camp, a church affiliated camp, they were all the same. Number 1, the atmosphere of the camp felt like home. It was a community. People were very, very thoughtful about making sure that people felt connected. So think about that. On the other side, speak very quickly about personal growth. More and more, we are seeing our staff reflect on their time at camp and talk about the opportunities we give them around public speaking, around how to advocate for themselves and others, about time management, and also about how to work in a workplace with others. So personal growth is becoming more and more significant, and we should promote that as part of our experience. And then the last thing, the last point is so important. In the research, and I think we all know this, most of our staff know at the end of one season, they want to come back next year. And too many of us don't take advantage of that. We don't talk to them at the time. We don't consider next year's roles. So think about what you do when talking with staff at the end of your season, and that sets you up for success for next year. There's my minute.
Thanks, Jeff. Welcome, Amanda.
Hello. Hello, everybody. So I'm coming to you from France. During my presentation, we talked about the importance of effective communication within your team, especially when your team speaks multiple languages. So at American Village Camp, we're there to teach the kids English, but they're all French. And therefore, our teams have anywhere from 0 to 1,000,000% English level. We are all over the place depending on the different tasks. So I shared a lot of different tools and techniques to integrate into your recruitment process, your hiring process, your training days, as well as your management during the session. Don't hesitate to look through it. Contact me if you find stuff interesting. If you find it sucks, I'm always curious to know how things actually work out for each person because our contexts are so different. But the takeaway is, if the counselors can talk together, if the teams know what's going on, the experience will be better for the kids overall. So that's pretty much what we saw in my presentation.
Thank you, Amanda. And I'll invite Tom to the stage, followed by Gwen.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Give me 1 second here, having trouble. Okay. So it's a pleasure to be with you all. Well, I'm calling in from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm excited to be here. So this slide really was talking to you about the online disinhibition effect. The online disinhibition effect. And there are different kinds of disinhibitions. And so they're really outlining 6 of them here. The first one, dissociative anonymity, is the degree to which a person online perceives that they can hide or change their true identity in the online environment. The second one is invisibility, where that person perceives that others don't physically see him or her in that online environment. Invisibility, even if the identities of others are known, allows others not to worry about how they look or how they sound. Asynchronicity is the degree to which a person perceives that the mode of communication enables a delayed response in the online environment. Solipsistic introjection is the degree to which a self-centered individual unconsciously internalizes the thoughts or personality traits of others in online communication. And then dissociative imagination is the degree to which a person online perceives the online environment as an imaginary world that has no connection to reality. And then finally, the minimization of authority is when individuals are online and they experience an absence of status, which creates for them a safe and low-risk environment to engage with others. However, this perceived lack of authority can lead to bullying and trolling. So why does all this matter? This all matters because when our youth are online, they believe that nothing matters, and importantly, they do not believe they matter. So if we go to the next slide, please. This slide really is talking about camp experiences are the literal antidote for this sense of not mattering, right? And one of the elements of the camp experience that contributes to these outcomes is time away from technology. So the time away from technology, along with like building that intentional sense of belonging in an immersive environment with near peer role models like camp counselors, where campers can have an opportunity to demonstrate choice and voice in their daily activities, and opportunities to be challenged while taking intentional time away from technology in a safe and supportive environment, right? This combination of factors sets up our campers to thrive well beyond camp, providing beneficial factors such as a strong sense of identity, greater appreciation for nature and the environment, more civic engagement with their community, stronger academic outcomes, and importantly, they are better at working in teams. Because at camp, they met campers and staff from different neighborhoods, from different faiths, different socioeconomic statuses, different races, different countries. And this advantage sets up our youth to find success when they start working with individuals of different ages and backgrounds, individuals who are different than they are. Thanks so much. Nice to see you, everybody.
Thanks so much, Tom. Really appreciate it. I'll call Gwen up to the stage. And after Gwen's two little mini presentations, David, maybe you can hop back up on here.
Good morning, good afternoon. I'm so excited to be able to share some of the things that I took away from some of the presenters who could not be here with us this morning, but were with us while we were in Tarragona. One of our keynotes was presented by one of the leaders of the actual resort that we were able to stay. Portaventura is a wonderful family adventure resort. And yes, they are a theme park. Yes, they are a hotel. But what they are selling is a dream, the dream of connecting with your family, the dream of connecting with your cartoon character heroes, and being able to see that you can have access to leisure and build family bonds together. So the challenge that our keynote speaker here, Sergey, gave us was, what are you selling? Are you selling an uncomfortable night in a bed with a cabin with people that you don't know about? Are you selling a drop-off at a day camp where you're not sure what's going to happen during the day? No, you're selling that togetherness. You're selling those life-building skills. So the question for us is, what are we selling and how can we communicate that to people? So we really appreciated learning from Sergey. Next slide, please. We were able to learn from Anna about a very interesting way that they are doing inclusive camping. And what to me grabbed my attention from this speaker was that, yes, they're doing an amazing camp program that's open to people with lots of different disabilities. But I really respect the fact that they realized we are good at inclusion. We are good at training people. We are good at adapting programs so that all children can speak and participate. And we are really good at helping building awareness among peers about how our differences can help be things that we can celebrate as opposed to just being different. And they do this through advanced planning. So what they have done is they have set themselves up as an expert for schools. And they have trained people in schools with the skills that they do at camp: staff training, program development, program adaptation, and peer awareness. So the challenge that our speaker gave us was, what are you good at? Don't feel like you have to be the expert level, but what are you good at? What are you doing differently that you can help people with? And this really hit home for me when I first became a faculty member. I was helping as an advisor to an after-school program. And they said, we have lots of activities. How can we get all the children to see all of the activities? And I said, well, let's set up this rotation grid. And I sketched it out on the board, and boom, they thought I was a hero. They thought I was a wizard. And all I was doing was simple camp programming. So recognize that that is something that we have that we may not realize is a superhero skill. So what are you good at? And how can you help others get better at it? Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gwen, and thanks for that summary of those two presentations. All right, everybody, fingers crossed. David, can we hear you?
David, if you'd like to pop any special comments into the chat, we can read them out for you as well. I can get started by reading off a little bit from your slide. So David was presenting about the legacy of positive start. So some school benefits of sending kids to camp. Feel free to correct me if ever I say anything weird, David. So the feedback that has been very strongly positive about the impact on student connectedness and confidence at a time of need in the wake of the pandemic. So after the pandemic, we saw a lot of kids struggling in schools, and camp was one of those things that really helped take away that slide of social dynamics and school success. It really helped to raise the profile of camps in Australia in the wider school community as a business that began to flourish again. There was an opportunity to address some perceived barriers to camps beside costs. So there were the cultural concerns of bringing in campers from different backgrounds, an aversion to risk. So trying something new, getting out into the outdoors, which might have been something that was a little bit new and unfamiliar to them, and having an ignorance of purpose. So not being aware of what their role in the world could be. So David was hoping that there would be a future possibility for inclusion of camps in other government-funded programs so that there could be a stronger connection between government funding and our camp community. David adds in the chat, there was another slide which we did not include in our slide deck, but there was a story about lessons learned on how to work with the government in delivering outcomes for students. So if you head to our app, which we will send a link for later on in the presentation, you'll be able to download all of David's slides and get a little bit of a better sense of everything that he was presenting. And if you'd like to connect with him, you'll be able to do that through the app as well. Thanks, Simon.
I'd also like to take this opportunity to introduce another new member to our ICF Academy. Kate Taylor has joined the team. She's doing a lot of the behind the scenes, but as you can tell, is very skilled at all levels of presentation. So thank you so much, Kate, for stepping in, and thank you, David, for your presentation at ICC. So a little recap. When we are listening to all of these presenters, from mental wellness to disconnecting and reconnecting in nature, to making sure that staff are feeling seen and heard, and planning ahead. What we hear is that at the center, at the heart of camp, is our campers. And a good camp always puts people above programming. And so within our next mini activity, we'll be breaking into breakout rooms. And what I'd like you to reflect on is, what's something from what we just heard that you might want to implement within your own organization? It doesn't have to be a program. It could be a group discussion with your leadership team, or something that you want to problem solve with your alumni. What is something in what you just heard that you find interesting and you'd like to bring back home with you? So my good pal Simon is going to get us all set up in our breakout rooms. And this will be a quick 5-minute hangout time. We ask that you act respectfully, meaning give space to other people to speak. It is only 5 minutes. Speak kindly, and that this is confidential. So what is said in that room, let's make sure that the information that is sensitive isn't being shared. And sometimes using a little bit of silence to reflect and think is okay. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. We had some nice chats. I know getting to breakout rooms sometimes is a little clunky, but I'm glad we were able to figure it out. We're moving on to camp and business. And this is a very important topic, because most camp professionals like to focus on the people and get a little anxious or squeamish around business. But here are some wonderful speakers to talk about how you can focus your organization so that it is being served properly. I'd love to invite JJ and Thomas to the stage, followed by Vivian.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. So JJ and I talked about a tool called RASCI, which is a roles and responsibilities tool that we really like because it shows the interconnections among people's work. So for any task, we can figure out who has the R, who has the A, who has the S, C, and I. So who is responsible for the task? Who is the responsible person accountable to? A for accountable. Who does the responsible person have who can support them? S for support. Who do they need to consult? C for consult. And who do they need to inform? I for inform. And that's RASCI.
And in this example, the task is communicating with camper families about a disease outbreak that's happened at camp. So in this example, the camp director is ultimately responsible for that communication piece. They're accountable to the camp owner. The administration director is going to be in support because the admin director is going to be actually sending out the communication. The camp director must consult with the camp nurse because it's a disease outbreak, and the entire management team needs to be informed and included in the communication. So that's an example of a RASCI task split up. And that's our 1 minute.
Thanks so much, JJ and Thomas. Really appreciate that information. Vivian, why don't you join us on stage?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, thanks, Vivian. Hi, welcome.
Yeah, hi. I'm from China, and as we know, the more opening hours and more kinds of products means more empower opportunities to our campers will have, and the more profit the camp owners will have. So, in our Camp Nature Joy, we open our camp the whole year, every day. So if you would like to run your camp every day in the whole year, you need to consider the main factors as planning and the landscape design and products design and business development and camp management. So in our camp, we offer the different camp products like that. The same as you are, sure, we will have the summer camp and winter camp during the summer break and the winter break. And during the working days, we offered from 1 day to 5 days field trip and the school camp for schools and team buildings or training for companies. And during the weekend, we will offer the different kinds of day camp to our families or our campers or our new consumers. So the whole year, every day, we will have different camp products opens to the different consumers. So I hope that can give you some ideas if you would like to open your camps every day in the whole year. Thank you.
What a beautiful model. Thank you so much, Vivian. I'd like to invite Gwen to the stage, followed by Luciana.
So exciting to see what's happening in China. One of the business models and scope that we were able to learn from Mr. Zhang was being able to recognize that they are dreaming big. Camp is not just an isolated event. It is part of a much larger circle of business scope. They have become actors in all levels of the camp supply chain. So being able to look at what are the services the camp need and how can your business connect with that? How can you interact with people even when you're not with them face to face? How can camp connect with educational opportunities? And then take camp on the road, so to speak, by having study tours and international study tours. So being able to look at camp as not just being part of an ecosystem, but being able to plug into all aspects of that ecosystem. So the challenge that Mr. Zhang gave us was to be able to look at what aspect of camp do you do that you can connect to the larger needs of youth development. Similar to the earlier slide, what are you good at? You don't have to be expert, but what are you good at that you can teach others? And yes, Pablo, one of the benefits of going to the ICC is the camp t-shirt exchange. So yes, I am wearing my t-shirt from Venezuela. Thank you. That's my 1 minute, to borrow JJ's phrase.
I love it. Thank you, Gwen. Luciana, followed by Leo and River.
Okay, as Gab says, sometimes for us in the camp industry is very intimidated to get into business and marketing. But Luisa, who was the presenter for this slide and this presentation, gave us an interesting way of looking at marketing. First of all, she started as introducing us to flywheel model of sales, which is a model of sales where the strangers and attraction of your new prospects then combines into engaging and delighting them so much that they become your promoters outside for the world, and they bring new prospects and new strangers. You engage with them, delight them, and then the circle keeps following. But how can we engage and delight with them so much that they want to become promoters? And this is through cultural marketing. Cultural marketing, she says, is a form of content marketing that showcases your culture, your organizational culture, get people to connect with your brand, and it's more about the human element. Who are you? How's your brand? What does your brand cares about? And that's why she says, if you pick their what they're interested about in strangers, you get to know them, connect with them, then go to the engagement part. So you can understand what do they want, and then delight them, engage with them. Even after the sale is completed, you can then keep following into them, and then you build a community. And this community and these meaningful relationships we have with our customers, which I would say it's not only campers but their parents, and then these parents and these campers can then be the promoters of your camp or your brand or your organization. And that's why she says that cultural marketing is what makes the wheels spin. Thank you. That's my minute.
Great presentation. Thank you so much, Luciana. And now Leo and River to the stage, followed by Gwen.
Well, hello, everybody. Nice to be here. So our presentation was just a brief summary of some strategies that we used this summer in order to walk a little bit towards sustainability. And we started it all with a brief social experiment, which basically goes by asking people to think and share what did they what's the first thing that comes to mind whenever you ask them something like global warming. And what usually happens is that most people will answer with either causes or consequences, but very few people think about solutions. So we decided to theme our session we decided to theme the entire session with sustainability in mind, and how can we teach solution based thinking instead of just problem thinking and critical thinking, just solution based thinking. And those 5 different strategies are things that you can apply very quickly. Just have a theme for your sessions, find an expert that can help you understand the topics you're talking about. We call the third one leave a trace, but a positive one. So instead of leave no trace, just think how you can leave spaces better than what you find rethink creativity. Instead of just doing pretty things, just do functional things. and then every moment counts. And then we really dove into like making little changes in everyday stuff, like test for which cabin uses less electricity, or who wastes less food, etc. So yeah, that was our presentation. It was fairly interactive as opposed to this one.
Thank you so much, River. And I love that. Leave a trace in a positive way. If we could have Gwen up into the stage.
So when we think about the 2 points that both River and our speaker before were talking about, Luciana did a great summary, and someone put in the chat that the focus needs to be on quality, that if we're marketing an inferior product or inferior experience, then it's going to be harder for us to be able to make the impacts and see the outcomes that we are looking at. And so one of the things that Tony and Yin were able to share with us was that once you have developed a product or an experience that you value and feel is quality, the challenge becomes, how can you help staff understand that target and be able to see with a situational idea of help others implement it. So you as the director may have that idea for the quality, but you need to get the staff to be able to understand that. And so the question that they gave to us and the challenge they gave to us was, how is it that we can communicate the expectations for how the quality can be delivered? Because we want to give staff some flexibility, but they need to know what is the foundation that we're delivering and recognize that it really has 4 elements to it, with fun, education, and challenges to grow, and then show that it is the antidote, as Tom mentioned earlier, to some of the situations that we're sharing. So it was a very engaging presentation. Next slide, please. And when we look at the business world, we can learn from corporate world. Utku works in the corporate setting and really talks about what corporate situations and strategic objectives are. So being able to look at something that has a clear target and then using the data that we already have available to us or can collect makes such a big difference. So the questions that Utku was challenging us to look at is, what are the targets that we're setting for ourselves? What data do we have? And what data can we gather either within our own setting or that's already available across looking at a broader view? And then how can you use that intelligence to make decisions? And by looking at it from multiple perspectives, we can make insightful decisions about how we're going to do that operationally. And so one of the things that he challenged us was, how can we become more efficient with our data management by using the IT systems that are available out there? And he did challenge us, ask your staff. Your staff are probably using a lot of IT systems that you don't even realize are happening. And so being able to look at how we can connect with the data to meet our targets was a wonderful way to be able to challenge us from his corporate perspective. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gwen. And thank you to all of our speakers that are speaking to camp people on business, because we need to hear it. And this is my takeaway. You know, business can be, for some of us, a little prickly. We're not quite sure what to do with it. I like to think of business as a well planned out garden. For our staff, our campers, our families, our alumni, we need to feed them. And with a properly planned out garden, that can determine what kind of nutrients we are giving to our organization. And I think we saw a lot of different types of models, from how do we handle tasks in organization? How do we grow as an organization? How do we communicate that to the outside world? Business is what fuels the good work that we do. So let's not be afraid of it, of businesses. Let's welcome it like a gorgeous garden that it is. In this next little portion, I'd like to invite my good pal, Kate, to the stage, because we're going to get to be a little interactive with our mentees. So you can use your your phone with this QR code, or you can go to menti.com and type in 1183-4418. And that's going to get us to doing a little bit of a poll.
Thanks, Gab. So Simon, I'm actually going to share my screen if you give me a minute. Thank you so much. So we've already got some participation. So exciting. So when you pop up on your Menti, you're going to have the option to rank these different choices. And then we will see what the sort of mood of the room is on what we think we want to focus the most on. So I wish I had more time or resources to spend on. And your options are marketing, camper data collection, a 5-year plan, succession plan, or efficiency tools. And it looks like a lot of people are inspired by the last couple of slides here. A lot of people are thinking they want to spend more time on marketing. Great news. We have a marketing tool for you that we're going to be sharing later on in the presentation.
Yes, we do.
We've got, it looks like we've got 11 or 12 people joining already. I'll give it a few more minutes for people to share this, and then I can also share a little screenshot of the final results at the end if we like.
I like seeing that the 5-year plan is also in second place here.
You definitely have a few people who would like to be planning ahead, which I think is very smart in this day and age.
Yeah.
Now that we're sort of seeing the other side of the pandemic, we are a little bit less in catch-up mode, and we're starting to think ahead again.
Marketing is still a very strong #1, however. What, Kate, why do you think that is?
I think that a lot of people who are camp directors feel like that is the one thing that they never have enough time for, because there's so much other business that they need to take care of. And social media is kind of scary for those who don't spend a lot of time on it. And there's so many different options and so many different venues of where you could be marketing. It's hard to decide what platform are you going to use? How are you going to use it? So it can be very overwhelming for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
Which is why with the ICF team, we're trying to create simple tools that busy camp directors can use really easily. So yeah, it looks definitely like marketing is coming out. Oh, we've got a switcheroo. Camper data collection is coming up. We want to do some more research.
I love data. So Kate, can you summarize a little bit what we're seeing here, and then we'll head on to our next topic.
Yep. So it looks like for sure marketing is coming out as top choice. Camper data collection and 5-year plan and efficiency tools are all pretty closely matched, and then succession planning a little lower. So everyone is feeling very confident that they are going to stay in their roles for a little bit longer, which I love to hear. So I will be seeing a lot of your faces at the next ICC for sure.
That was a very good business marketing move you just did there, Kate. Thank you so much for joining us. And now we are moving on to our third section, 3 of the 4 program. And to kick it off, who better than our great pal, Kiki?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So nice to see everyone again. So we had the privilege, the opportunity to share a little bit about what we do at Green Camp, and we're focusing on sustainability education, same with River and his team. And it was exciting that we have so much conversation about sustainability education and how we integrate nature-based education into to become sustainable education. And one thing that we'd like to share is the Green Camp values that we embed in every planning, in every program that we do. And the Green Camp values are inspired by 2 core values that we have adopted. Permaculture ethics. When you talk about permaculture ethics, you ask the question: is it you caring for the people? Is it fair? Is it fair? You caring for the planet? And the traditional Balinese philosophy as well, which values 3 elements, which is respecting the self, planet, and the people. So these are the values that we always remind our campers and ourselves in everything that we do, and always asking the questions whether what we're doing is respecting people, if what we're doing is fair to the people, to humans and the planet, and always approaching anything, I guess, with all these with the values and the questions. Yeah, I think that's all.
Thank you so much, Kiki. Your passion is always noted. We appreciate it. Gwen.
Thank you.
All right. So they let me help prepare this slide. And since I am a professor for a little bit longer, I might have snuck in a few extra slides. And our mentee showed us that you care about this. So we got a chance to hear from Dr. Lori Brown with the American Camp Association. And what I love about this presentation is it looks at the data, but it looks not at the data from one camp or one perspective. It's the aggregate. It's the bird's eye view of camps across the United States. And so she started her keynote by telling us a little bit about why children don't go to camp. What are the constraints? What are the challenges that keep people away from camp? So if we can get good data, if we can understand it, and if we can use it, then that helps us make better decisions. So being able to look at what are the structural things that keep people away? What are the feelings within the child, within the parent? Please go back one slide. And what are the issues? One of the things that people often say about this is that it's the people don't know about camp or don't want to go to camp. But when we look at the data, it's 61% showing that it's a structural reason. It might be finances, it might be lack of access, it might be lack of availability. And so being able to think about all of those levels is important. All right, now we'll go to the next slide. So one of the things that ACA, the American Camp Association, since we have more than one ACA, is doing is looking at the structural piece, since that is one of the biggest issues. And one of the things that ACA found was that we need to have a way to tie in those feelings with the structures. So ACA has launched a camp school partnership project where the focus is really looking at quality camp experiences and being able to have a trusted institution either be in partnership, be in an endorsing role, but some way to build on that. And so the American Camp Association has a great website that I'll pop into the chat after I finish speaking about all of the different projects going on with the Camp School Partnership. Next slide, please. Another thing that American Camp Association is doing to remedy these issues is that program quality really matters in terms of, are we doing what we say we're going to do? And so the Camp Program Quality Project has given training, assessment tools, and ways to connect other camps with each other to give better experiences. So again, I'll put some links in the chat there. And next slide, please. The focus with the last piece here, whoops, one back, please. We can go back one. Let's see, there we go, the Campwell Project. Perfect, thank you for keeping up with all these details, Simon the Extraordinaire. So being able to look at how can we focus on what youth really need? And the research shows that we need to help children be present in the experience to be able to focus on wellness. So the overarching question that Dr. Brown was able to connect us with is, what partnerships do you have? What data do you have? And how can you use your data to determine what those partnerships are? So we were grateful to learn from her in her keynote. And next slide, I get to tell you about another presenter who was from Russia, who was able to talk about the things that were best practices for her camp. Svetlana Petrovna talked about the Festival of Culture. They examined their own camp and they looked at themselves. What do we do well? And then how can we help campers find out what they do well and share it? So through their camp programs and networks of camps across the country, they've come up with regional festivals where the campers and the staff have the opportunity to participate in competitions with photos, videos, and activities so that they can feel comfortable about what they're doing and feel good about that. So it was a fascinating discussion. So next slide, please. And Mr. Lim was able to show us that we need to not only focus on what's happening at camp, but how can we help campers and staff see the skills that we use in camp and transfer them to life outside of camp. And so the formula that he challenged us to do was to be able to look at how can we inspire and influence youth to gain skills so that they have confidence and competence with their credentials. And then to me, it's interesting that there's a multiplier effect here of our character, that if we understand our ability to influence, to use our competence, to use our credentials in a way that helps others, we can make a big difference. So our challenge there is how can we help staff and campers use those skills and take them outside of camp. So nice presentation from Mr. Lim. Next slide, please. And then I was able to present the work of one of our doctoral students who graduated recently, Lisa Olson, on novelty. And here's the challenge I have for all of you, is that we're always looking for what are the new things, what are the ways that we are connecting, and our brain has to pay attention to things that are new. So when a camper or a staff member comes to camp, they're going to notice all of the new things. And we can help that adjustment by labeling and understanding our own degree of novelty. What is familiar about camp and what is novel or new about camp. And we don't want to throw so much newness that we cause people to be stressed. So being able to look at our physical setting, our social milieu, our ways that we relate to each other, and the activities that are offered really make a difference. So we want there to be enough new things that your brain focuses in, but we want there to be enough familiar that your heart feels safe. So think about the parts of your camp and think about it on a continuum from familiar to novel, and where are you shining? Where do you want to adjust, and how can you connect with your campers? So thank you. That's my minute.
Thank you so much, Gwen, and to all of our speakers on programs. And I find that programs, when it's done with intentionality, it gives purpose and direction to your community. And as we could see here, a lot of the programs are creating links to camp and the outside world. And that's what we want for our community members, to take what they're learning at camp and bring it outwardly. We don't want to be a best kept secret. So here's a little treat that you might have already noticed from yesterday, but we have created ICF channels in different languages. So English, Espanol, Russian, and as well as Chinese, Mandarin. So we have different ICF chat channels. And what we would love for you to do is just introduce yourself in that channel. If we can go to the next slide and share those QR codes, find the channel that works for you and introduce yourself, and then maybe just share what's your favorite program idea, maybe something that you heard in the presentation, or maybe it's something that you saw at a conference, or it's something that you do. So we're going to take just a little minute just to get signed on, say a quick hi, and you can share some of your exciting programs there. Just a quick little moment. All right, team, we are back. And for our final section of this whirlwind of presentations, I'm getting so much information, and also I'm having a sense of pride for the camp community right now. And I can't wait. Education is one of my favorite topics. And so to bring to the stage, I would love to have Simon to come to this stage. If you're able to do that for yourself, that would be amazing.
I'm actually here. Yeah, I'm gonna just pin myself to but I don't know how to pin myself because I don't know. Here it is. There you go.
There you go. Thanks, Simon.
So welcome everyone again. Thank you so much for joining us today. And David Mendez, he presented, he was our first keynote, and he's a dean in the University of Navarra of Oviedo in Spain, but he was also a camp counselor. So now he has transitioned as Gwen Powell to be a lecturer. And that's fantastic because he talked to us a little bit of where we came from, how we get to where we are, and what is happening in the future for the camp industry. So how we've shifted from being educators or be perceived as entertainers and become educators. And this is a very interesting way of understanding our profession. Also, he talked a little bit about the importance of play in society, but also bringing a lot of the things we do outdoors, how we can connect with nature, how we can connect with each other, and how it all needs to be under an umbrella of legislation so we can support the society as a whole. So this is a very important topic. The demand that we're looking, artificial intelligence, we just look some of the developments this week, the firing of the founders and Altman of the founder of OpenAI. Now he has been hired by Microsoft. He mentioned that he is concerned about the future of humanity because he believes that artificial intelligence can be a danger. So this is what makes us different from machines, and social understanding, how we can develop empathy, how we can develop understanding. And this is what makes our profession fantastic. So this is what he is aiming for: social change, family connection, or conciliation as well. What do we do when we are free of work, and how we can make these changes more usable for all of us in our everyday life. So David presented all of this from us. He presented from an academic point of view, but also from an experiential point of view. And it was a fantastic opportunity for us to understand and learn what is happening for our profession in the future. Thank you so much for having me here. And that's Simon signing off.
Thank you so much, Simon, and our good pal, Gwen.
I'm so excited to be able to bring David, who you heard earlier from Australia. His colleague Peter also did a presentation related to the other ACA, the Australian Camps Association. And this was the slide that David mentioned in the chat earlier. One of the amazing things that we need to do better, I think, especially in the United States, I'm not sure about everywhere around the world, is that we need to talk outside of our circles. As Gabs just mentioned, we don't want to be the best kept secret. So how do we get governments and others to believe enough in us to be able to back it financially? And Andrew, who was also at the Congress, is literally right now at the Australian Parliament House and being able to advocate for camps. And I know that lots of the different places around the world, oftentimes when we're meeting for our planning teams, we'll talk to Simon. He's like, yes, I'm coming away from the government building where we were able to meet. And I know that Tom from the other ACA spends time at Capitol Hill in the United States, but being able to look at what they're able to do. So in Australia, they were able to get school camps back happening post-COVID to be able to get state funding to send 81,000 students back in school in just one state of Victoria. And one of the main points that David wanted us to make sure we mentioned to you is that the Australian government, part of the reason that they, quote, got it or understood why it was important to have camp as part of the public funding was that so many of them had experienced camp because Australia has such a strong school camp program that many children and many parents have experienced camp, that they already knew the value of the camp experience. And so being able to make sure that we're sharing it outside our circles and helping others understand us is better. I get the opportunity, next slide, please, to share one more session. I'm going to pop down the hall to this session that's happening with John. And I think this is an amazing one because I think one of the ways that we can help spread the word about camp, because not everyone has experienced it, is to help campers and staff verbalize and say, oh, I learned that at camp. Oh, I did that at camp. How do we help our staff and campers see that the learning skills that they are gaining with interaction, collaboration, with media, with technology, with leadership, what are the ways that we can get people to share that I learned this because of camp? And Kate has just popped into the chat with a thanks to camp. We have a toolkit that we'll be able to give you that will help you help your campers and staff share what I learned at camp, thanks to camp. So thanks for the presentation from John, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to share with all of you.
Thank you so much, Gwen. Really appreciate it. And that is a mini summary of education. And we know that at camp, that is essentially what we do is education. And I love what Gwen was saying about talk outside our own circles. What we do at camp matters. Camp is more than just fun. And there's still so much myth busting that we can do to help inform our families, our government officials on the important work that we do at camp. We have big tasks when it comes to camp, but letting people know the good work that we do is an essential part of it. So here we are. A little treat. Now we have two treats for you. And the first one will be shared with Luciana, if I could have her join me on stage. We'd love to share the ICC Congress app, where you can have be in contact with all the speakers that are that were at the Congress just recently, as well as all of their slide decks. Luciana, can you help us, for those of us that need a little bit of assistance on how to get access to this app? Can you guide us, please?
Of course. Thank you, Gabs.
Thank you, Luciana.
We have multiple ways to enter the app. We can, with your phone, you can scan these QR codes, but there's two main ways for us to get access in the app. One is through the web, because it's not only an app, but it's a web page. And this QR code that we are looking in screen that's blue can lead us to the web page, and it's called Conference. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but you can see it on screen. And you enter to the web page, or you can download the app in your phone. It's able for Google Play and also App Store. And then after entering the web page or the app, you then can type in the Congress ID, which is ICC in all caps 2023, all together, no spaces. And I think this is a great way, as you said, it's a complete treat, and especially for ICC Press. It's such a way to live it through other people's eyes, see what they're doing, look at their, I don't know if you can listen to me. It says, yeah.
Yes, we got you.
So it's a great way to see the Congress through other people's eyes. And not only you can look at their pictures, see what they're commenting, but also one of the, well, there's three things that I think are the main things that we can gain through this app. First of all is the one I'm mentioning. You can see photos, comments, what other people were doing, which day was, or how the presentations, videos, photos, but also it gives you an opportunity to network and connect with other presenters and participants in networking. And you can chat with other people from all around the world and connect ideas, connect projects, see what others are thinking and what is their perspective in this industry. But also, and my favorite part is that all these slides we see through today, and also maybe other ones, if you want to maybe get in through dig a little deeper, maybe connect with a specific presenter, but you don't remember which slide or what topic in specifically you want to talk about, you can find the full ICC 2023 material in shared material, where there is all the presentations, some more information about what was the Congress about, or what were all the presentations about, who was speaking on which days. It's a way for us that didn't went to the Congress to live it, and those who did live it to re-experience it and go back to Tarragona and we want to invite you to keep sharing, to keep looking at the material. If you're interested in maybe connect with someone, this is the great opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Luciana. And if you can't tell, Luciana actually didn't have a chance to come and join us in the Congress this year. And so her passion about the app is truthfully very genuine, in the sense of that's how she connected to the Congress, was through the app. So that enthusiasm is not from being in Tarragona herself, but using the app. So there's so much great information like you just heard today. So if you didn't have a chance to join it, please do. And if you did go to the Congress, maybe go a little bit down memory lane and share that with your staff. They would probably enjoy that as well. All right. I know we said we had one treat, but we actually have two treats. I'd like to invite my good pal Kate back to the stage with me. Now, I know a lot of us are in the middle of, or at the beginning of, or soon to be in staff hiring mode. And as we saw, right, Kate, in the mentee, marketing was number one. Today, Kate's going to help us out with 2 quick tips on how to recruit staff members for your camp.
Thanks, Gab. Simon, you can advance to the next slide. So if you head to ThanksToCamp.org right now, or whenever you like, we have a number of toolkits in a whole bunch of different languages. And if you don't see your language there, feel free to reach out to us to ask how you can help with translations. But ThanksToCamp is a bunch of building blocks that you can use right out of the box. And there's also some ideas for how you can use your actual camp time to collect more stuff for you to use later on in the year when you are working on staff recruitment, working on camper registrations, or whatever it is. Next slide, please. So our first quick tip for staff recruitment is that you can reach out to your 2023 staff and ask them to share their Thanks to Camp story with you now, so that you can start to create some posts for hiring. So what was it that you got out of your camp experience as a staff member that might attract someone to come to this job? So Thanks to Camp, I'm very good at presenting material to groups of people because I have had the chance to be a presenter at staff trainings for a number of years. Next slide, please. Our other little tip for you is that you can reach out to some of your camp parents or alumni to write a thanks to camp from the perspective of thanks to my child's camp counselor. So from the perspective of a client, what are the things that they see in their kids after they come back from the summer that they're like, that was because my kid's camp counselor was really good at their job, and this was the impact that they had on my child. I know that we've all received those grateful messages in the past of, you know, my camper came back as a new confident individual. They're so much more independent. They've gained so much from their camp experience, and it's all thanks to Jojo, who was their counselor and did such a fantastic job making them feel seen and heard and appreciated at camp. So those are our 2 quick tips on how you can use Thanks to Camp specifically for your staff recruitment.
And I love thanks to my child's camp counselor story. You can get 5 families. I'm sure you have 5 families that you can call right now that had such a positive experience, and have them tell their story. Just makes last year's camp counselors feel great. It's a great promotional tool to get out there. Thanks again, Kate. Really appreciate it. And we'll keep having these tips for Thanks to Camp to help with marketing and telling the great story that camps do for kids all around the world. Well, it's our time to share our next teaser for our next episode, but still stick around. We do have a message from our president. mark in your calendars December 12th, green for camps. If I could invite my good pal Fari to the stage to wrap up our episode today.
Hello, Debs. You're a pro, really. You're more than a camp director or like an actress or whatever. So you have the intelligence, you have the ability to connect people, and a great narrator. And thank you for the work. And thank you all the ICF team, ICF Academy team for doing all this great work. I appreciate. And this session took us back to almost like 5 weeks ago, and remind us how incredible was the Congress, and it was great to recall the presentations and get inspired by some of the presentations that I had missed, which I'm going to go through the file that I'm gonna download, or I already downloaded. So the Congress was amazing. So it is more than just being together. It's a big exchange of ideas, big exchange of feelings, emotions, and friendship and inspirations. I feel inspired, and my staff and my friends, everybody I spoke with, they were all impressed so much. So thanks once more to ICC, the organizing team, those who had done great things about it. So I believe that ICF is in the next level, that we continue our exchanges until between the congresses with the help of this ICF Academy and the internet softwares, applications that allow us to get together. So please follow ICF Instagram page, which is very active, Facebook page, Twitter, which is X now, and also follow. I'm a part of the WeChat group that that includes some of the friends who were in Spain. So if you're not there, you can join us, and then still it's going a WhatsApp group. So please stay connected, and you will enjoy every minute of ICF Academy and being in contact with your friends, with your colleagues from ICF. So see you soon.
Thank you so much, Fari. Very much appreciate it. And thank you for the kind words. As Fari mentioned, we'd love for you to stay connected with us. Here is a slide for you to join our Facebook group if you haven't already. There's a lot of information that comes there, as well as our ICC app. This is a time where I would like to say a little thank you to our team. I did get nice praise from Fari. I really appreciate it, but we are an entire team behind this. So thank you to Alexia, Gwen, Simon, Jorgi, Kate, and Luciana. As you can tell, we are a large team that tries to put this together. December 12th is our next gathering. We'd love to have feedback from you. Here's a lovely little picture of one of our shining leaders, Gwen, who's quite a powerhouse behind the scenes. We love your feedback. It is so helpful for us to help direct what our next episodes will be. ICF Academy was really created in the beginning of COVID, where we want to bring information to everyone and gather that information. So really something that we want to connect. So your feedback is truly helpful. Thanks again, everybody. Stay safe, eat some great food, and we'll see you at the next episode.